Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to not miss a month out of the year, and I've actually noticing that I haven't really uploaded for this month of December so far, and that's because I've been super busy working on some internal stuff. But I still wanted to do something, and for some time now I've actually wanted to do a Vue 3 upgrade to this Fedorae components project here. So before we move into production and all that, I actually really wanted for us to be on the latest version of Vue. In addition to the fact that Vue is actually coming to end of life support, and that end of life support is actually today on the 31st of December. I think there is a LTS extension that is available, but we won't be leveraging that, especially for a basic project like this. Let's just get right into it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just did a clone of the repository here. I'm gonna cd into it now, and I'm gonna do a yarn install so that we get back pretty much everything. I want it on the main branch as well. I'm actually gonna create a new branch for our migration. So let's go ahead and do a git switch create, and then we're gonna call it migrate to Vue 3, which is our Vite, whichever one you want to think about. It's the same. Or it's gonna be using Vue 3 anyways. So from here, we're just gonna go ahead and do some configuration. I'm gonna open this up in Vim. For one, I want to change this over to Vite because that's what we're going to be using. And I have some projects open here. I actually have one here for the how-to, and the branch that we're on is the Vuetify 3. So this is a project that I created some time ago. You can watch the video. The link is there. We're just gonna use this to do the upgrade to what we want. So I'm actually just gonna copy a lot of the stuff that are in here. Just basically just rip it out. So let's go ahead and delete all of what's there and paste this in. So that's that. We won't be needing the server because we're not gonna be using it actually. So I just deleted that. There are some additional configurations that I'm gonna add in here shortly, but we're gonna leave that as is for now, and then we'll just go right through here. So we're just gonna go up this lock package lock.json. We're gonna remove that. I'm gonna remove it from now. Most of what's in here I am going to be deleting because we're not gonna be using any of this. We're gonna keep it as minimal as possible, so that we don't have any errors basically, and then we just add back whatever is needed as it is needed. So let's go ahead and copy all of the dependencies that are here. So let's go ahead and paste that. I just did a Control C to get that copying done. There we go. It's better. And close. So let's save that. We are not going to be using surf because we're not going to be using technically we're not going to be using that view. And I change this to Vite. We won't be doing any linting because I actually just deleted it. So as you can see, the lint we need to change is not to Vite but to build. And for our release, we won't have any lint just yet. So we're gonna add that back before. For our configuration, it won't be inline as such. It's gonna be in the Vite config. So we'll add that later on. And as you can see, most of these are outdated. Vue is now at 3.4.3. Latest release was about a couple hours ago. When I looked at it, I had to have the project open here a couple hours ago. So that's that. Alright, so back here. So this is all that we're going to be needing in here. So we're gonna build we could do the preview, but we won't be needing that, and we could do the dev, but we won't be needing that as well. I'll leave that for the playground. So this is actually going to be dev actually, so it's not gonna be build, it's gonna be dev. And that's that. Alright, so now that we've done the config and the package.json, we don't need a bubble config because we deleted that earlier. the pretty RC, we're gonna leave that for now because we may use that later on. Let's go into source then. All right, just before we go into source, since we have the index out here, let's go ahead and get it out. I'm gonna push it up to the root directory. So now we have it here. Some of the things that I want to highlight is that in our package.json, you'll notice that, so this is exactly what I copied. Well, I could just put a split screen so you can see here. So you'll notice that we have the MD font. If you watch the video that I spoke about in this, really what we're doing is just replacing these, because we had to be reaching out to these websites in order to get these CSS and fonts. I don't necessarily like that idea, especially when we're building these client-side applications that, in that sense, we want to work offline. If we're required, if the user is required to reach out to the server, then that's going to be a little bit problematic, especially if they don't have any internet, obviously, or in the event that they have slow connection. This is gonna slow down the website or the application so much. So prefer to just build it in or have it done. This is why we have these, and we're gonna do the configurations shortly. So what I'm gonna do is just to copy everything that we have in here. So we just go to the top, delete, then paste this in. We don't need the title, so we'll just delete that. We're gonna come and we're gonna change this here. We may end up not using this index file, to be honest, especially given that we did the configuration. Well, we're gonna change that configuration a bit in main. So let's just jump right into it now. That may allow us not to use it at all. So let's see where we go from there. So for the meantime, we're gonna leave it as is, but I think we're gonna come back and actually remove it because I don't think we are actually gonna need it. So again, copy and paste in. I'm gonna go to the top here and let's just paste this in. All right, so a couple of things that we are going to be changing. So for the importing of the app, that's going to be the same as usual. Plugins. This is something that I think we're going to be removing because I strongly believe that Vuetify, the Vite config should be handling this registration. I'm not 100% sure just yet. I'm gonna have to revisit how that works. All right, so let's change up a few things. So we already have view and we already have app. We already have Vuetify there. So the only thing that we need to do is just import the components, and I'm gonna change this from having that S there because I strongly believe that as far as I know, the list here should indicate the plurality of it. So that should be that. We won't be using app. We won't be using view. We'll be using app because this is now view 3. This we won't be needing because we're not gonna be using it on this application. Everything from here we can pretty much delete. Right, pretty much delete that. The plugin though, because actually we don't need this either because we're not gonna be mounting it on this specific app. So we won't be needing that as well. I know you can see that a couple things are not going to be needed in there either. So in addition to that, given that we're passing this as an input to the function or a parameter to the function, then we technically do not need to create an instance here. Let's see, because if I should go here and then remove this, it should only be registering the plugin, which I don't think we actually need to do, given that we'll be configuring it via Vite. As you can see here, plugin config and all that. But I do think is there a possibility that we actually do need to register it, but we could always come back and try, see where it goes. So I'm gonna leave that there for now, and that should be that for the configuration. It's like much simpler to a certain degree, I would say as well. So we'll just leave it as is for now. Alright, so moving forward, the app that view usually stays the same. For the plugins that we need to actually do configure Vuetify. So let's go ahead and go over to here, source plugins, and we need an index.js file. Let's just go ahead and just paste all that we need in here, and this is pretty much just going to be importing the stuff that we have in our loader web font loader. So let's go ahead and create this now, and there we go, the web font loader.js. I'll just paste that in here. So it's basically just getting that what we had installed over in our plugin or package.json. So we have our web font loader here, and then we're just loading the Google font. So that's pretty much all that is doing, and then we import it here, and then in our Vuetify here, so that we're going to be actually using these. So let's go ahead and paste that in. So and there we go. We have a little bit of default setting style from that project. We may end up most likely gonna end up changing that because I want it to be less opinionated, relatively less opinionated. So that's that for our plugin. So there we go with that. I am going to change something here, which is the name of this here. I want to change it to lib, actually, because this is going to be a library, and I guess that's all I want to do with it, which means I have to go ahead and change this. Well, change this to lib as well, and now we need to do some configurations in our package.json file. So if we go over to building for production, if we scroll down here, down to library mode, this is what we'll be needing for our config. So let's just go ahead and copy all of this, and then we're just gonna edit it around. So what are we doing here? Okay, let's, I think I'm messing up my keys. So we are going to the Vite config here. All right, let's start that again because I don't know why that happened like that. And we're gonna paste this in here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then we're gonna just give this tab in. All right, awesome. So now this is in lib main.js, so we don't have to change that at all. For the name, we're gonna give it the name Vuetify Fedorae / VFC. All right, so that was what we had in the package.json. We'll just leave this as VFC so that when we are installing this, as opposed to previously, so if we go to the playground, when we did our configuration in the main.js, what we had to do was do something like Fedorae, add Fedorae / VFC this, and then it's gonna be at Fedorae again, which is not what we want. We just want to have the VFC alone. So that's what we'll be doing when we just do this here, which is just much cleaner, to say the least. And then these external dependency, we're going to be needing view. So we'll just leave that as is. So save that. All right. So once we have that, we need to change this to lib because we're actually using lib now. So may not be needing much of this part of it. We may end up changing the configuration there. For now, we'll leave that. We also need to get resolve in here because we'll be using that. So let's go ahead and get resolve. right, I'm just putting it right at the top here. So let's save that because we're going to be using resolve right down here. So that's that. All right, awesome. So that should do it for our configuration. I don't think we need to add anything else in here. We're going to change the package.json a bit, but so this is how we're going to be changing it. And previously, when we did our build, in the main, so let's look at the package.json. This is what it would have built out to be. It would have been vfc.common.js, but we're not going to be using that way now. So given that the changes, we gonna show you what it will build out to. So we're gonna do a yarn build. Well, we need to install this thing. So let's do a yarn install. But before I do a yarn install, let me remove the node modules directory so we have something clean to start with. All right, so yarn install again. All right, so now that we have this, we can just clear and do a yarn build, and then we can see what we get. Are awesome. So at this point, we now get this web font loader. We also get this style app CSS, and now we now have this vfc.mjs and this vfc.u.m.d.js. However, I do think that this is going to change because we lack some amount of configuration that will be needed. I just wanted to show you what that will build out to. So we're gonna go ahead and change some stuff in here. For one, we need to change this to a type of module. So we change this to that type of module. It's going to build out a bit different. So module. So I'm gonna change that to module. Again, this is going to be, well, before we change anything here, we want to build it again to see what it was. So let's go ahead and look at our package.json. Just add the additional stuff that we'll be needing. So again, we added type. We already have files. We already have main. We need to change it though. Well, let's look at this one. So we need to update module because we're gonna build it over. It's gonna move to this style. We have some imports or exports that we need to do in here. So let's go ahead and add those. So I'm gonna add my export right after files. So where are you, cursor? There we go. And let's push these over here. So that's much better. All right, so for now we're gonna leave these defaults. So I'm gonna go ahead and build this again to see what we get when we do the build, and you're gonna see that it's changed to something new. Just go ahead and put into terminal again and do a yarn build. So now that we build this, you can see that now we get a JS file, so a plain JS file, and we also got to get back the UMD file, but with a .cjs, which is basically common JS. So now we'll just update it accordingly. I am lazy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this here. And now we don't necessarily have to go to the Fedorae scope because it's going to already be pretty much mapped to that already. So let's remove this and we'll just change my library here to vfc, and same thing there. So module that, we change the same thing here as well. There's one additional thing that I want to do right here, and that is to import the style, because it won't get the style imported. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get that style coming in, and we'll just change this to the style. It won't automatically load the style, and this is a way that I've found in an issue to actually get it loaded in. So yeah, so this is pretty much it as it relates to our new configuration for this thing here. This is all that we'll be needing for now. It's relatively simple. I'm gonna change this or fix this, I guess. Oh, much better. All right, so now that we've done that, all of this, I think it only makes sense now for us to give this a final build. Let's go ahead and do a yarn build. And there we go. Perfect. So everything is working as is. We can't do any yarn uh, serve or dev. That's because we don't have any view for it. So what we're gonna do is to actually go over to the playground and do an update to this. So we're going to be using Vite for this as well. You could still pretty much use the normal view, but we're moving towards Vite now, so it kind of really only makes sense. What I'm going to do is just copy everything from here pretty much. Let's just go ahead and go in here, paste that in. So everything will pretty much be the default. For that, we won't change anything in here. Everything inside of the package.json will change relatively. So I'm gonna go to the top and just delete everything, I guess. And I'm gonna call this playground. It's more appropriate, I guess. I'll just leave that as is. Now after changing this here now, let's see what else. We need to move the HTML file as well, so we're gonna put it up to the rooted directory because now we're working with Vite 3, and we'll just delete the stuff that is in here also. So let's just copy or change it. So let's do that. Welcome to I'm just gonna rename this to Vuetify components. All right, VFC playground. So that's that. Save that. And what else do we need in here? We're not using Babel, so let's remove that because it's just a waste now. For our main.js file now, we need to configure this. Alright, so for this configuration, we're gonna do relatively the same thing. So let me just go ahead and copy this here. I'll put it at the bottom here and remove what's at the top. So we need Vuetify, obviously. We're also going to be needing VFC here, and we won't be using that because obviously we're not using view. We're gonna remove all of this as well. The @Fedorae path will be moved, and also this is going to be now called style. This is how it's rendered out, so we just leave it as a default. We can remove this. I'm gonna bring this down to here. I think this is more nice, so we'll just leave that as is. So we import the app. We are getting our instance or be able to create the app, register the plugin, verify. We need that, so that's that style, and then we just mount this. So pretty cool. So that is all that we need for the configuration in here. We have the VFC login already here. This won't look the same as it used to look on the previous version, and the reason for that is because Vuetify did a lot of updates to the breaking changes in Vuetify 3. As a result of that, it won't look the same. We're not going to touch on the updates, updating the components themselves in this video. All we're going to focus on is just the setting up of it are migrating to Vuetify 3, but you'll actually see, you'll be able to see the difference. So for this now, I am actually just going to do some copy and pasting. I'm going to delete this one, and inside of here we could do a copy of source. Where is it? So there should be a source slash plugins copy source. I don't know why that's happening. Let's see. Let's try to do it from here. So copy, let's do an ls and see what we have actually in here. Oh, it's lib. My bad. Yeah, we changed it. So lib plugins, and we want Vuetify, we want lib plugins, and we also want the index.js. We also want the web font. Did we not have a web font? Oh, plugins, web font, and we're gonna move this to / playgrounds, source, and then plugins, and that's we're copying it, not move. All right, so let's go ahead and vim back in here, and now in our plugins directory we should have these files. We don't have to touch them because they're pretty much just the same. In here we already looked at that. We already looked at this for the assets. We don't have to worry about that either. And that should pretty much be it for here. We need to do a yarn install on this here. So we'll go ahead and exit this here, clear this out. I'm gonna cd into the playground directory and then do a yarn install. All right, perfect. So there's one final thing that we need to do is to actually link this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and go up a directory, and I may need to put a command to actually do this automatically when we do an install. So let's go up and do a yarn link, and now we already have it registered, but it's because I was messing with it before. But we now have a link, so we can go ahead and go back over into the playground and then do a yarn link, and then we're gonna link the VFC. So this is basically for our development purposes, so we don't have to push this to npm before we'll be able to use it. So now that we have that, I'm gonna cd back up, and then we're gonna do a yarn play because we already have this, and let's see what happens. So this is running there. So at this point we should be able to go over to localhost 3000, and there we go. So we are now seeing our login page in Vuetify 3 with Vue 3 and Vite. It doesn't look all that great because, again, as I mentioned before, Vuetify did a little bit of changes to how their thing is structured. Some of which I like, some of which I think is just too much. But yeah, so this is pretty much it. We've now migrated our Vuetify components app from Vue 2 to Vue 3 using Vite, in addition to adding our Vuetify 3 support. So that's pretty awesome. This is pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section, or you can go ahead and also check out the project itself when we push it to repository. You can leave any issues if there's any. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.